do. This is the circle, and I'm going to drive on around it here in a minute. That's the lake right down there, cove, and they've got a little landing area right here, I guess. I'm going to walk on up the hill, see what it looks like. This is a prime example of some of the good work they've done and the good timber they're getting. They managed to follow that one between those. Wow, what is that? Without damaging either one of them. I'm about halfway up on the ridge now. Here's a white oak that they've fallen. Looks real good. These are all since the last time that I shot, by the way. These are marked. The mark is on that one. The mark is on this one. Here it is. There's one yellow mark. And way down here is the other, right on the edge. So I'm watching the marks. But this is looks like a veneered log right here to me. I don't know. No expert. No limbs for, not even a knot, for at least 16 feet. There's the first knot. Looks clean all the way down. You can see none of these are marked. Nothing else is marked in this area. There is one small poplar down right here, but all these trees are marked. There were two marked right here. That's generally the way I did it. Sometimes there were a cluster, and I did mark all of them in the cluster. I did that up at the top, and I'll show you when I get up there. Looking along almost the ridge top, right up there is the fence. You can see the clearing through the field. And I marked almost a straight line of trees out through here, hoping they could drag them all out one way. Make more or less one drag trail for all of these because they're lined up straight. And then there's another row of poplar up here that he could do the same thing with. But I told him to drag them perpendicular to the slope, which is down here. So here's a real good red oak. It's got a place in it. It's probably 30 inches around. It has a mark. There's one. And where's the other one? Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. There's one mark. And there's the bottom. They always cut below the bottom, but I don't think they do it for any other reason to make sure that it's good, and then they take all the tree that they can. They may leave partial stump, but it's not because they're trying to cheat me, I don't think. And it doesn't have a limb up until way up there, although it does have a little mark in it right there. I'm sure that's probably would keep it from being veneer. And he fell it between the trees out here. There's one bent one, but nothing seriously knocked over. No trees damaged, and that's pretty similar of what they do. And you can see there's one there, and I don't see any others within sight of this one. There's a few up top here, but this is about the way we marked it on this ridge. Very selective, so not to damage any of the other trees. Very near property line, which we know where it is, right up here, and marked a lot of poplar up here. I don't know if you can see it all down, but thinned it out really good. And let's see, there it is somewhere. Oh, shoot. Okay, up there. Of course, I'm standing on a stump. I've been looking for the marks. They're on the tree. And what I plan on him doing is, up here where it levels out on top of the ridge, is pulling all of this out parallel in one swoop, one road, one drag trail, parallel to the ridge line here, toward the lake, parallel to the ridge. So all he'll have to do is make one large skid trail, which who knows someday could become a road, and I'll leave enough room here below the line so that if there was possibility of dividing it up someday and making lots out of this, then that would be possible to use that same skid trail as a road. And like I said, there's a lot of poplar out through here, a whole lot. And I'll walk on out now. I hear beagles over the ridge. That's Dutch Valley in through there. And it's thinned out quite a bit. You can see. Just stepping a few feet from where I was just a second ago, you can see the ridge line now. And some of the trees that run along the boundaries are really big trees. Of course, they're not going to be taken. They're all left. And I mean, up here is one. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a massive red oak that's sitting over on our property line. There's not going to be taken. Those big ones. And make a nice shade tree someday for a nice house sitting up here on this flat, level land. Of course, up there is where the trees run out into our property. And as you can see, it's pretty well forested. There's not a whole lot of difference. Last, let's see, 1997, let's see, 17 years. Is trying for my land not to end up like my neighbors, which is what I'm looking at right now. You look a little closer, you'll see the boundary fence between me and him. There it is. Okay. You'll notice that here there are two strands of barbed wire. This is an old TVA fence. This is not the fence that I ran. There are three strands. Okay, here's one. Actually, I believe that's might be something that I patched the fence with. Here's two. Okay, there's two strands. Now, here's what I've been doing for the last 17 years is building a fence between me and him, because there's one strand here, right there, and the strand is broken, as you can see. Now, I've been lugging barbed wire, patching equipment, fence hammer tools, all the way up this hill here, which is probably a quarter of a mile for the last 17 years, to mend the fence between me and him, because his cattle run here. This is where his cattle run. I mean, he's planted a beautiful cleared field. He's got a semination barn where he seminates his simmentals over the hill, and he's clearing this off for, I'm sure, pasture, although it's going to be seen from the lake, and he'd like it to look nice, and I think it looks nice. I think that really looks nice. I mean, as far as a few trees here and there go, but more or less that's a clear cut. Okay, and so hopefully I'll be able to drive up here and mend this fence in about a month before it falls down. Nobody's mended it but me, and his cattle are over here. Horses, sheep, ostrich, whatever he has. Now we'll pan around to Mr. Payne's farm. Well, what do we hear? Well, it's a tree farm, as many people don't know what tree farms look like. This looks like a tree farm. Now, there has been cutting, yes, but there is still many trees, and this is rather thin actually right here compared to most of it. But now you pan back around to Mr. Bundren's, and I'd say probably in the next few years all of his property along this ridge will look like this. And this looks good compared to some of what his property looks like. So, what's your object? What's your point? Well, I think I did a good job. Of course, nobody will know. Yes, Kelly has a can of natural light. And there's Megan, the dog. And there's Mary, redhead from Michigan. And here's Sam. Joe, he's behind the camera. That's an ugly sight.